Hello ladies and chaps, and a jolly good welcome to you. I am Curtier. Thank you very much for joining me, and welcome back to the Q and A gaming session with the developers of Hellion. This is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, I strongly suggest you go see that first, so you know where we're up to in regards to the questioning and the gameplay and all that good stuff. So yeah, we do a bit more exploring in this episode, and ask a few more questions, so hope you enjoy it. I've got a couple of questions that are my own. And I'm not comparing this game to any other, but I'm kind of using another big open world sandbox game for like examples, if you know what I mean. Just give me the ideas. Um, so, for example, is there going to be a kind of mechanic for clans or guilds? I mean, I'm not really bothered about clans and guilds and whatnot. I'm more a kind of solo or small group person. But is there going to be some kind of mechanic where there will actually be not just a bunch of mates meeting up and playing a game together, but like inviting people to a guild in game, like a mechanic? So you'll have like a clan list, for example. You know how like the ship has the security terminal with like your crew, that kind of thing. Um, do you know what I'm saying? I can't really explain what I mean, but like the game I'm comparing, the game I'm using an example is Naval Action, which is a Age of Sail open world game, and in that
I know.
you pay a bunch of in-game currency, not real life currency. It's like in-game currency, obviously. You make your guild, you can invite people in, you can promote people, that kind of thing. Kind of makes it's like makes that kind of thing more interactive for the factions within that game. Is there going to be any kind of similar kind of thing for this? Is it not really something you've really worried yourselves with?
We're kind of. I'm not sure really about that one. I would have to ask some of my colleagues about it. But at the moment, we're working on improving the security system a little bit. That's in a plan, to allow more options for people who want to play with friends, or to allow people to kind of band up with more people, and make the recognition between players a little bit easier, and their communication inside the game, a bit more friendlier than it is at this point. And I do believe that if things like that are introduced, it will create the basics for what you talk of.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
That sounds like a very positive step forward then. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so where are we? Oh, where the hell are we?
I found the station.
Heading to Broken Marble.
You found a big station.
Yeah, I think this is the pre-made station.
And
looks like somebody may have taken control of it, though. Does it have a CM doctor?
There's a USS Nimitz. Talk to it.
Well, at least they don't have a CM doctor. They could take control of the pre-made station.
Yeah, true. This could be one of the pre-made ones.
It is.
Right, do we have any weapons on board?
We have no weapons at all.
No. They were probably killed, to be honest, by the
turret.
By the guns, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain this place actually does have some automated defenses on it. We are in a military zone after all.
We can check it out if you want. It might end everything a bit prematurely, however.
Okay, I'm up for...
End up at Broken Marble?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where we are now, is it? Is that where this...
Yeah, this is the Broken Marble station, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I vote we go visit the ship first, and
definitely.
see if there are any weapons on board.
I was wondering about these stations, since they're supposed to be essentially damaged or broken apart sections of a larger thing, I gather, like a larger base, maybe. Could the ends of them, so people can't dock CMs and take control of pre-built stations that you make, like put derelicts on the ends of all open ones, or so it looks like a section of it is broken off and it's damaged.
We thought about something like that, and that's actually a pretty good suggestion. I've seen that video you did, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea is something like that. We'll probably see something like that introduced. The idea is indeed that these stations that we can visit, especially the pre-made ones, are actually remnants of larger complexes, or either small outposts that were simply left drifting in space after things broke down. But something like that, yes, definitely.
I was wondering, would we get a turret placement like where the door opens and it could be like right there, or would that give us ship-to-ship combat too early?
Well, I'm going to talk to some of my colleagues and see if they have plans for adding slots like that. Yeah, I'm inside, by the way.
Righto.
This place is, well, in a lack of a better word, 100% empty so far.
I'm gonna scout the. I'm gonna be brave. I'm gonna scout through the windows and see if I see any gun turrets in the power supply modules.
They docked with the grapple. I wonder what they were trying to do.
Let me just check. Yeah, the entire place is completely vented, and the top airlock is open actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think we can get in safely. Okay, no turret.
Yep, CBM's clear.
Unfortunately, this place is as empty as it can get. I think someone got here before us.
Yeah, I don't think the loot's respawning on public right now.
Not only is this place completely deserted, I mean,
wow.
aside from it's all the parts have been taken out. Somebody really stripped this place clean.
Yeah.
I've never seen someone do such a thorough job.
Shall we check the external parts to see if they're all gone as well?
As far as like modules and derelicts, will we ever get versions of the derelicts that are complete that we can use to build, and vice versa, where we get derelict versions of, say, like life support modules and so what I'm wanting is like every derelict I want to be able to build with, everything that I'm building with, I want a derelict version of.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to some of our modeling department about that one, but that's probably going to be part of work. I can't say when exactly these are going to, if and how soon they are going to be introduced, and if they're going to be exactly the way you say. But as part of our work on ship-to-ship combat, we are looking into doing a proper kind of a damage model for objects that you can run into.
Interesting.
As I said, there's a lot of work and being done, and we're right now, as I said, focusing mostly on optimization and improving some of the performance before we start adding things like that.
Yeah, because I mean I have a pretty decent system, and even right now I normally run at 4K, so I turned it down and I'm still only getting like 34 FPS. I have an i7 and a 1080 Ti.
I'm at 13 FPS at the moment, but I'm on a laptop, so I don't have a PC. I don't own a PC, so I'm kind of stuck with this at the moment. Yeah, I think that's a good question though about the derelicts. I mean, imagine like a derelict mule or something, you know, with like its front window smashed in or something. That'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
I said there's a lot of ideas we've been exploring about that, and I said can't really say when some of these options we've talked about will be introduced, but some of them will definitely make their way into the game.
You probably can't say, and I totally understand, but in the trailer, the giant ship that's like 15 kilometers long or whatever, that all the colonists came over, will we ever find... Yeah, the Daedalus. Will we ever find pieces of that? Or even the entire thing?
Yeah, I imagine that.
That would be awesome. I
I
don't wanna
know
put you on the
that. It's
spot.
okay. Yeah, it's okay. I just
If you
had to. I had to
can't
toss
answer,
it out.
don't.
No, it's not a problem. But to answer this one, I'd say stay tuned for the upcoming lore updates. It might give you some hints on what you can expect and how things actually worked. So there's going to be a lot more lore covering that ship in particular.
Pretty much my last question, also kind of a suggestion, and also I just love base building. I'm the guy that did the ring thing, and I just love base building games. But I would love a module that would allow me to build in the vertical and down access. So like a 6-way, like a 4-way with that would allow us to go up and down. Yes, maybe even a gravity well in the center of the fourth.
So you can,
I don't know.
like the S corridor, but actually, well,
Go up and down.
yeah. So you can add another layer onto your base essentially.
Like two T corridors fitted with a lift in between them.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Well, I'll pass on the suggestions to our modeling department.
Yeah, I already took a note of that, and as you guys know, we like to incorporate ideas from the community as well. So might work actually. Cannot promise anything, but we will definitely let them know about the suggestions.
Awesome. I have an arty type question, if I may. Obviously, with point 2, we saw the Bethir system, Bethir and its moons. They visually look so much better now. That it seems the texture quality has been increased. The number of triangles used to make these things round has increased. They just look so much more photogenic. Are there any plans for, or is there a timeline yet for the other celestial bodies in the system?
Of course, we do have a plan to replace the current textures of these objects and make them look, well, they don't look exactly as they're supposed to, but that's part of the work that I can actually tell for sure is being done. So you can expect to see improvements done in that department. And also another thing about these is that once that is finished, we're going to add a little bit more lore for each of the planets.
Oh, nice.
May I make a suggestion, guys? Because I just brought one canister and I'm kind of getting low, so wouldn't...
I'm in the airlock. I'm waiting on who else.
I'm in the airlock too.
Okay, yeah, we're waiting. We're in the airlock.
Oh.
I got a canister for you.
Say anything.
Sorry.
It's hard to tell each other apart.
Name tags. Name tags.
Yes, name tags on the suits.
Name tags on the suit.
There's been some talk about that, even on I think one of the recent streams that was done by Joel. So there are certain issues, especially with player recognition, and in general, that's going to be one of the things that we really want to do, to actually allow people to easily tell each other apart.
I've got a question for you actually. Since obviously 0.2 came out, it's now gone back to you spawning with a ship with, you know, good components and stuff in it again. Is that going to stay like that, or is it going to go back to being sort of like partially degraded gear and all that kind of stuff?
Well, kind of players' opinions are a little, you know, kind of split, especially on that one. Some people would prefer, you know, to have more time, you know, especially for the new players, where they don't run out of air and other resources that quickly. The other people, of course, would like a challenge, you know, something to go for. And I believe we're working on striking a balance between that, with creating a starting scene where most of your parts are actually in, let's say, bad condition,
right,
but to still allow new players more than enough time, you know, for mistakes, you know, and things that happen. So it kind of creates this progression where you actually go out into the world in search of better parts, essentially, to kind of replace the ones that you have on a station. And since the stations are probably going to work okay with the low quality of parts that you start with, these would in fact make like an upgrade to your base, allowing you to have more people in it, fast rail filtration and stuff like that.
Right.
But yes, there are plans to adjust the quality of parts that you spawn with. We're just we want to strike that balance, and it's not as easy, you know, to kind of
Yeah, of course.
cater to both
Yeah.
both kinds of people. And one of the biggest problems we had when Hellion launched was that new players were feeling a little lost.
My next question though, who's actually piloting our ship right now? Because this,
I am actually.
because in my screen there's no one in the chair.
No, there's not.
Don't worry, I am. So I'm just gonna get us closer to these derelicts, and we can go look and see if.
The vision gradually uses color saturation, even if you don't make any mistakes with the visor. Is there ongoing health degradation every time you EVA?
Not as far as I know, not at this point. It's still not something that we have introduced. So the only way to lose vision, basically, and have it generally go from color to black and white, is if you take health damage. Now that can happen as a result of impact. So if you're moving too fast and you hit an object, you can lose a bit of health.
Yeah.
And also as a result, of course, of getting shot, or on the test server getting punched in the face.
Yeah. But so if I'm careless with flying into modules, the ship, just trying to do things too quickly, am I gradually taking damage then? Because my color vision definitely degrades over time.
Yes.
As well.
Yes, if you are not careful when approaching objects and you move at high speed, you know, you will take damage from impact.
Yeah. So
Will we ever get like a personal health scanner to know exactly what our health is?
Someone's been here already. I don't believe it. Is there like a place that hasn't been looted? Okay, sorry to answer that one. There probably will be certain tweaks done to the way health is displayed to give players a bit more of an idea, you know, where they are. But something, I'm not really sure about a medical scanner, but a tool or a place like that where you could check your status is something that we've been considering for a while now.
I found a rifle.
Oh,
Nice.
good. Did you find any ammo? I also found some spare canisters and a few med packs, by the way. So
Yeah, I've got some ammo here as well.
Yeah, because even astronauts, they're like their health is hooked up, right? Even today, they have health heart monitors hooked up. So it would be easy to be able to even just see and lore friendly to see our heartbeat.
yes, as I said, there's been talk about possibly introducing some of options like that to allow players to, as I said, gauge their health a little bit more effectively than it is at this point.
We were discussing ships about a month back, and we were looking at the concept art. We noticed the picture with like the 50 ship thumbnail drawings.
Oh yeah.
Now some of those looked like they were scale drawings, and some of the larger ones seemed like they were just so large that you guys didn't even bother putting a human next to it. How many of those on that thumbnail are maybe actually planned?
I can say that we have a couple of ships planned. The thumbnails were like one of the early concepts done by a few of our concept art team. Some of the, you could call them early prototypes, basically. And there are also plans, you know, to introduce some of them. As I spoke a little bit earlier in the video, one thing that's for certain is that we want to work on optimization before adding bigger ships. And then we're going to first probably add a smaller ship to the game. Something, you know, that is kind of, we'll still see if it's going to be more like combat oriented or it's going to be like a maneuvering craft that you can start with or something. And then we plan to introduce something larger like the Tamara excavator that's been seen in some of our videos. But as I said, these ships are probably going to undergo certain dose of rework before they are added into the game, so they're probably not going to look exactly as you might remember them.
Now, I love anime, especially the ones with pirates and dreadnoughts, and I love old ironclads. Now, I thought in one of the thumbnails it looked like one of those had like a battering ram skull on it. Will we get that type of gameplay, like being able to ram another ship and do damage to it?
That's probably going to be one part of the ship-to-ship combat that we're working on, because we plan to add the health model to the ships, to allow ships to take damage from both weapon fire and impact. So if you want to, say, Mr. Scotty, bring us up to ramming speed,
Yes.
I think we're gonna be able. I think you're gonna be able to do that.
Oh, terrific.
That made my day.
Imagine that, yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be limited to just ships, so you'll probably be able to do that to a station as well.
Oh wow. Okay.
There are plans to do so. As I said, I don't details too much about how exactly it's going to work, or how soon it's going to be implemented, but it's definitely planned.
What I'd really like to see is freeze-dried ration packs in derelicts or anywhere, just hidden away, and the ability to turn ice from asteroids into water. The survival thing, the immersion is so deep at times when the game's working well and you're in the zone, and then I just think, okay, I can breathe if I've got oxygen, but I'm not eating anything. Just something really, really simple would kind of satisfy that thing in my head.
As I answered already in the text, I think we're considering, sorry as you guys for jumping to answer the question, because I already kind of typed the answer. We're looking into it. It's something that we have considered several times, but at the moment, actually they confirm we're not implementing this. It's not planned, at least for the stages of development.
Yeah, sure.
You're going to be hungry for a while then.
Yes, I can deal with that. I've got a stock down in the downstairs. I've got a stock of meat.
You've been eating the basketballs.
Yeah.
Bit chewy, yeah.
They last.
Yeah, but understandably, is one important aspect of survival. If we want to be realistic, we definitely are considering going there. It's just how to go about and implement that.
I've just
If we got food, I wouldn't mind a hydroponics module.
Yeah, I'd love a hydroponics module.
That's also been a question that's been kind of asked a couple of times. I found a stim pack here. Anybody wants one?
I might need it because, like an absolute pro, I didn't put my helmet on when we depressurized.
Okay, I'll bring it with me.
Oh, hang on, I found one anyway. I found one over here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Good.
there's one in this derelict as well.
Of course,
okay.
Another solution to the food and drink thing would be to have, instead of, you've renamed the med pack stim packs, well, could you not have one that's named Red Cow? I won't call it. And it contains like a nice caffeine kind of shot.
Yeah.
I know there's been a talk, about what other survival options could be introduced into the game. And for now, we have just the oxygen mechanics, and it's probably going to stay like that for a bit. And as said, the question's been answered already. So we do have plans we're discussing what we could add, but all of these ideas are pretty good actually. So
yeah, it's great to hear that. It's just good to hear that it's being considered at all. That's great.
Well, we can't have you forever looking just for oxygen.
Yeah, I've lost about 30 kilos since I started playing this. I don't know how I keep going, really.
I have to admit, that's the best diet ever.
Yeah, the Hellion diet.
Yes.
This mule I thought that was completely raided, called Ship Happens. Actually, the parts boxes, it was like jackpot in the hold. So I'm just filling my pockets right now. But,
I hate you.
If you need parts, I'll have some.
Whose ship was that?
Some unlucky guy that had already been raided, but they hadn't done a very good job of it, so I'm cleaning up.
Yeah, I'm seeing components on the external side of the ship as well.
There's the parts boxes in the hold are full. Almost full.
There are some plans to expand on the security system. I'm still not sure how soon these are going to get in, but there are plans to expand the security system and possibly allows the captain the ability to lock down the entire station, and prevent access for anyone who's not on the authorized personnel list.
That sounds good. I'm a big fan of security options.
Yeah.
Well, as long as they have the checks and balances, make it difficult, but don't make it impossible.
Do you want like a neurotoxin release button as well?
I have a question, actually. It's kind of storyline related, I suppose. Is there going to be... It's a bit of a suggestion as well, maybe, I don't know. Is there any talk of having, like, events? You said about the degrading orbit of, like, some stations. Is that going to be, like, a kind of event kind of thing? Is there going to be other things like that? I don't know what to use as an example, but I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Like, is there going to be, like, big events?
Temporary POIs.
Yeah, you like receive a message or something somehow. I don't know how, but you somehow receive a message saying this is happening here or this is happening there, and it's going to be like a big PvP area or something like that.
Not at the moment, to add things like that, but these are some concepts that have been talked about and discussed some of these options a while back. And one of the beautiful things about Hellion and its orbital mechanics at this point is that making timed events based on orbital mechanics is rather interesting. It does open a whole new window, of immersive timed events. They don't just like disappear or last for a while. Imagine having, say, an asteroid with something on it, just entering the system, moving really fast, and you get like a few weeks, to get it before slingshots out of the system, and generally things like that. For now, we have the doomed outposts, and after that, we're probably going to see if we can introduce a few other options. There's also some additional work going into doomed outposts to make them a little bit more interesting and more challenging to explore.
Nice.
But to answer the question in short, we don't have any specific plans at this point, but all of those are pretty good ideas, and they will be taken into consideration, of course.
Lovely. Thank you very much for watching part 2 of this Q&A and gameplay session with the developers of Hellion. I'm sure you'll agree with me, a lot more interesting ideas and concepts being kind of released from the developers there. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. I will be putting all these Q&A videos into a playlist, so it'll be much easier to watch. But yes, please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I am Kertier. Hope you have a very nice day, and hope to see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.